Hi again. Dad's going to talk a little bit about Koe Io, a beautiful song, and it's become very popular in Hawaii. We've seen some beautiful hula done to it actually. So,
Okay.
Dad, would you like to introduce
Sure.
Luke?
Yes, Koe Io was written in Hawaii, actually. It was written at a songwriting event we had, and it was written in Maori because Luke wrote it in Maori.
Oh,
And then there was someone there that translated it into Hawaiian.
right.
But on the album, we've got it in Maori, we've got it in Samoan, and we've got it in English because Dale then wrote an English version of it as well. I think it's a very, very beautiful song. It really is, because it speaks about the supreme God, the God that's over all. And it's interestingly that in the Pacific, several of the different nations of the Pacific had an unknown supreme God, creator of all, they called Io. And so that's why it's called Koe Io. Okay.
Great. Over to you, Luke.
Thanks, Mindy. It's such a long time. I think it was 1999 we were at that song retreat in the mountains. And before that, we'd been, I think, on another island, and I was on a beach. I'm walking along this beach and I discover this man from New Zealand who's actually carving a waka, or a canoe. And of course we get talking because I see him doing this canoe, and I didn't know he's from New Zealand, and discover that he's from New Zealand, I think from down the Bay of Plenty. But he's chatting away to me about what he's doing, why he's in Hawaii, about the waka that he's carving, and begins to talk about his understanding of Io, the supreme being. And as we begin to engage in that conversation, I realize, oh, this is a moment I need to take note of. He's telling me some things I've never heard of in my life before around spirituality, what Māori, the indigenous people of New Zealand, understood about the Godhead, about the God of nations, but in the context of their culture. So he writes these names down for me. And I didn't know what to do with it except take it with me, and I put it in my pocket. And it was when we were up at the song retreat that I felt drawn to, oh, that's right, I've got those lyrics. Maybe there's something that I need to write about. I get the lyric and I have this deep conviction that I'm about to write a worship song that says this is who you are. That the one that I had worshipped out of the context that I had learnt my spirituality in, which was the Western church, my understand growing in the Western church, and in the reality of that context, discovering who God was and who Jesus is and the Holy Spirit, all of that truth and reality, suddenly I'm being challenged by a revelation that my people group had known long before they ever had encountered Western Christianity. And this deep conviction was saying, this is the same God of nations whose feet you come to worship. And so I began to write the song, and I felt like it was an expression from deep within me, though I was so unfamiliar with the statement after statement. Write the song, present it to the group. In the group were a number of native Hawaiians, one of them an expert in the language, who says to me, we have the revelation of Io in our islands. And asked if he could translate it, as they said before. So they translate and bring the song back, and it's the most beautiful expression of the same song with their pictures and their names of Io. And it was recorded a number of different times in Hawaii, in that Hawaiian language, and became very popular. I didn't know what to do with the song in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I didn't know if my conviction, that thing deep within me, was going to find favour within people. I didn't know what to do with the song. The song was sung and has been sung in various places, and actually more among Māori, the indigenous people, than churches, at least in the initial years. The song was written as a worship song. And I've had to do my own journey and homework over these many years since 1999. But I continue to use the lyric of those songs and those names, those ancient names of the God of nations, whose feet I come to worship. You'll hear the song in Māori and in Samoan and in English. Dale wrote the most beautiful English translation that takes something of the depth of the names that I've used there in Te Reo Māori, in the Māori language, and illuminates them in the English language. But we find, as David said, I think, that right throughout Polynesia there's this revelation of Io, the Supreme One. And as you listen to the song, maybe it could draw you to worship again the God of nations, as you hear it in Māori, as you hear it in Samoan, and for many of us, as it's made clearer in the English language. May it lead you to worship as you listen to Koe Io.
Koe Io Matua te kore Koe Io Te waiora Koe Io Te pukena Te kaihanga o ngā mea katoa Koe te toka Te mana teitei Koe Io
You are supreme over all the nations, immortal God, uncreated. You are supreme, pure living water, the source, my rock, the highest place, the very breath I take. I wait before you. You are supreme. Oh, Io. Esili, sili, ese. Oh, Io. Levai puna. Oh, Io. Ole tukuanga. O mea ato I leo langane O te ofo ina atu I le tupu